Yesterday morning, March 27, 2026, the headlines out of the Middle East took a sharp, ugly turn. Prince Sultan Air Base, a massive hub for U.S. operations in the Saudi interior, was targeted in a coordinated strike. Iranian ballistic missiles and drones found their way through. Commercial satellite imagery and shortwave infrared data confirmed what we feared. Several KC-135 Stratotankers, the literal lifeblood of our aerial reach, were caught in the open. Now, when you see a US base take a hit like that, the immediate reaction is often, how did this happen? But as a defense analyst, I'm looking at the second half of that story. Because while those tankers were burning, a global machine of sensors and algorithms was already finishing its first draft of the receipt. Today, we're breaking down the architecture of the modern US kill chain. We aren't talking about a single magic satellite. We're talking about a multi-layered space-to-terrestrial web that makes hiding a launch almost mathematically impossible. If you pull the trigger on a US asset in 2026, the system knows who you are, where you stood, and exactly where you're trying to run, often before your missile even hits the dirt. Let's start with the first signal, the space layer. The moment a rocket motor ignites, it produces an intense infrared heat signature. For years, we've relied on SBIRS, the space-based infrared system. These satellites sit way out in geosynchronous orbit, 22,000 miles up, staring at the Earth 24/7. They scan the entire planet every 10 seconds. They don't just see a fire, they see the specific fuel signature of the booster. But SBIRS is the old guard. Right now, we're seeing the rollout of next-gen OPIR. These new satellites are built on the LM-2100 combat bus. They're tougher, they're cyber-hardened, and their sensors are significantly more sensitive. They can pick up dim targets, fast-burning, short-range missiles that older systems might miss, and they're specifically tuned to track hypersonic glide vehicles. Now, think about the scale here. Below these massive geosatellites, the Space Development Agency is launching the PWSA, the Proliferated Warfighter Space Architecture. Instead of a few big, expensive targets, we're putting up hundreds of small satellites in low Earth orbit. This is the tracking layer. By 2026, we're talking about a mesh network of over 100 satellites. If an adversary tries to blind us by taking out one or two, it doesn't matter. The rest of the constellation just handshakes the data across the web. This is where the no escape part of the system really kicks in. It's called forensic backtracking. Once SBIRS or the PWSA picks up that initial flash, the system doesn't just track where the missile is going. It uses high-speed algorithms to reverse engineer the flight path. Think of it like a CSI team reconstructing a bullet's path, but in real time and across 3 dimensions. These algorithms, like the ones used in the ALPS GP framework, take the missile's speed, the burnout velocity, the gravity turns, and even the wind resistance, and they run the math backward. In the past, this took hours of manual work. Today, the US can identify a launch point within 300 meters in under 15 minutes. But here's the kicker: mobile launchers. Iran, like many of our adversaries, uses TELs, Transporter Erector Launchers. They drive out of a tunnel, fire, and then try to disappear back into the mountains before the smoke clears. In the old days, that worked. Today, not a chance. This brings us to Layer 3. Hyperspectral forensics. Traditional satellites see the world in red, green, and blue, the same way your eyes do. But the US is now deploying hyperspectral imaging, or HSI. This tech divides the light spectrum into hundreds of narrow bands. It doesn't just see a gray truck on a brown road. It sees the molecular fingerprint of the materials. Systems like the GHOST constellation or the Artemis sensors can see things invisible to the human eye. When a missile launches, it leaves behind specific chemical residues, propellant scars on the soil, atmospheric effluents, even the specific concrete dust kicked up from the pad. Even hours after the launch, these sensors can scan the area and see the ghost of the event. They can tell the difference between a real mobile launcher and a decoy because the spectral signature of the paint and the metal doesn't match. If that launcher tries to hide under a camouflage net, Hyperspectral sees right through it by analyzing the moisture content and light reflection of the netting versus the surrounding vegetation. While the satellites are doing the forensic work from orbit, the tactical layer is queued in. This is Layer 4, the tactical quarterback. Enter the F-35 Lightning II, and a program called Project Overwatch. We've always known the F-35 was a stealth fighter, but its real power is its brain. In recent tests at Nellis Air Force Base, the F-35 integrated an AI-driven combat ID system. Here's why that matters. In a high-end fight, the air is filled with electronic noise, radar pings, radio chatter, and decoys. It can be incredibly confusing for a pilot to figure out what's actually a threat. Project Overwatch uses machine learning to resolve that ambiguity in milliseconds. If a mobile launcher is trying to move under the cover of a radar jammer, the F-35's AI compares that live data against a massive threat library. It identifies the specific type of radar being used, crosses it with the satellite backtracking data, and presents the pilot with a high-confidence target icon. But the F-35 doesn't just keep that info to itself. Through JADC2, Joint All-Domain Command and Control, that target data is pushed to every shooter in the region. Imagine an Army unit on the ground with a Titan station. Titan stands for Tactical Intelligence Targeting Access Node. It's a mobile ground station that Palantir and Northrop Grumman have been perfecting. It takes the space data, the drone feeds, and the F-35 signatures, and it fuses them into one single targeting picture. So, while the enemy launcher is 3 miles away from its original spot, thinking it's safely hidden in a garage, the Titan station has already pushed its exact coordinates to a Navy destroyer in the Gulf. The destroyer doesn't even need to see the target. It just launches a Tomahawk based on the kill web's coordinates. This is the shift from a platform-centric military to a network-centric one. It's any sensor, best weapon. Now, let's talk about the strategic reality. The hit on Prince Sultan Air Base was a blow. Tankers are high-value, slow-moving targets, and losing them hurts our sortie rates. It's a reminder that we are operating in a world where the sanctuary of a rear area base is disappearing. But the reason the US remains the dominant force isn't because we never take a hit. It's because the system we've built ensures that a first shot is also a final mistake. The ability to backtrack a launch point with 300-meter accuracy in minutes, and then use chemical fingerprinting to prove exactly which unit fired the missile, removes the mask of plausible deniability. It means that mobile doesn't mean untraceable anymore. We are moving into an era of persistent forensic custody. The moment you step out into the light to launch, you are owned by the network. The satellites record the flash, the forensics identify the fuel, the AI tracks the vehicle's path, and the mesh network ensures that data is shared across every cockpit and command center in the theater. So, as we watch the situation at PSAB develop, keep your eyes on the technology behind the response. The tankers can be replaced. The crews will be cared for. But the data that was gathered during those few seconds of the strike, that's the real story. It's the data that informs the deterrence of tomorrow. In a world where everyone can see the headlines, it's the systems that see the molecules and the math that really decide who wins. Thanks for hanging in there with me today. This is complex stuff, but it's the reality of modern defense. If you want to keep tracking the tech that's changing the face of the US military, make sure you're subscribed. I'll keep the updates coming as we get more info on the forensics from Prince Sultan. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.